What is up, Algebra 2 students? This is lesson 56. Really, it's just the first part of it because we're not going to skip the second part. And our objective is how are angles and circles related, or how they relate to each other. So just talk real quick some terms which you should have seen at some point, maybe in geometry. But let's just do a quick refresher there. So if you have a circle, its center right there, and so if you have an angle with the vertex at the center, we call that a central angle. A central angle, so that's this one right here. If we have the vertex on the side of the circle, we call that an inscribed angle. An inscribed angle. This arc from A to B is what we call the minor arc. Okay, so it's the shorter one. And then if you went from A through C to B, we call that the major arc. Okay, and that one we say, so the measure of a major arc is going to be bigger than 180, minor arc is going to be less than 180. And so for major arcs, you name another point that it passes through, like in this case C, passes through that one, goes to that one. We'll remember that central angles is the measure of the arc. So if this arc out here is, I don't know, let's say 40 degrees, and that means the central angle is also going to be 40 degrees. But the inscribed angle is half of it, so this inscribed angle would be 20 degrees. And converse from that last one there, if you do 2 times the inscribed angle, that's equal to the measure of the arc. Okay. A few more terminology here. A tangent is a line that touches the edge just at one point. Think about like taking a line and leaning it against the circle, it's just going to touch at one point. A secant is a line that passes through a circle. And then a chord is a line that is a segment that starts and ends on the edge of a circle. If a chord passes through the center, then we call it a diameter. Here's something else I should mention about tangents. Tangents are always perpendicular to a radius at its point of tangency. So if you go from the center to that point, it's always perpendicular to the tangent line. And this next part of information is in your book on page 235. If you have two lines that intersect inside a circle, then these angles that are formed, right, these two are the same, is equal to the half the sum of their arc lengths. So if I want to find the measure of x, I would say this arc length plus that arc length, and then divided by 2, half that. So in this case, it would be what, 130, 50, 65. And then if they intersect outside a circle, so as they pass through, if they pass through the outside of the circle, then it's the difference of them. So the bigger one, 60 minus 20 divided by 2. So that one would equal to, what, 40 over 2, 20 degrees. Okay, this angle there is 20 degrees. This one right here. Okay. It just happened to be the same as that. It's not always true that it's the same. It just happened to be. So this one minus that one divided by 2 gives you that one up there. And this also works if one or both of these lines are tangent, right? So if this line instead, went out there, it'd be this one minus that one divided by 2 would give you a measure of that angle. Alright, so let's see if we can put some of this to work. Notice I have two tangent lines, which means it's going to intersect just at one point right here and at one point right here. Remember that the measure all the way around a circle is 360. So if I want to find the measure of this arc from here to here, I would do 360 minus this. That'd give me the measure of that arc. So that's 125 degrees. And so if I want to find the measure of this angle, that's like the second one on the previous page, I'm going to say this one minus this one divided by 2 will give me that. So I will say 235 minus 125 over 2. It's going to be 110 over 2, so it's going to be 55 degrees. So this is equal to 55 degrees. Right here for B, notice these ones are intersecting inside the circle. So I know if I take this one, which I will name x just for fun, and then add it to this one, divided by 2, I should equal that. So I'm going to say 204 plus x over 2 is equal to 127. Trying to solve for x, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that fraction. I get 204 plus x is equal to 254. Subtract 204, and I get x is equal to 50 degrees. 50 degrees. So measure of this arc length here is 50 degrees. Alright, let's look here at C. Notice this is again intersecting outside. So I know this one minus that one will give me that one when I divide it by 2. Let's go ahead and set that up. Say 55 is going to equal to x minus 65, because that x appears to be bigger anyways, over 2. So multiplying both sides by 2, it's going to be 110 is equal to x minus 65. Add 65. Now end up with x is equal to 175. And we will do one more here. Again, we're looking for this angle. It's outside, so I know 40 is going to equal to x minus 55 over 2. So that means 80. Multiplying both sides by 2, I get 80 is equal to x minus 55. Add 55. X is equal to 135 degrees. Alright. Feel free to watch it again, or slow it down, or repeat, or skip, or share with a friend. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Alright, your homework is on page 236. You do the practice set. I think there's 4 of them. 6 through 12, and then 4 more of your choice.